Hi, I'm Dr. David Croto, Dean of the Seminarian School of Ministry at Columbia International University, and I'm here with Dr. Steve Johnson, Professor of Addictions Counseling and President of the Albert Ellis Institute in Manhattan. Dr. Johnson, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to talk about faith as an asset in times of perceived threat. So my first question is, exactly how does our religious faith help us in the face of perceived threat?
Great question. Faith helps us whether we're perceiving threat or not. It's just one of those big protective factors in life, and we don't say enough about that. That's just at the psychological level, not in their protective factors in other areas. But it really shines when we are perceiving threat. I give you a quick research study that was done, and they divided individuals into two groups. And one group, they had them look at a mountain. In the second group, they had them look at a mountain. The one group, they were alone. The second group, they were with other people. And you could add a third group that believed, believers. Well, they then estimated, every group had to estimate the incline of the mountain. Those who were alone saw it as far steeper. Those who were connected, not as steep. Those with faith, like a hill. You know what I mean? So there was less of a perception of threat. Were they seeing the same mountain? Not in the way that they were perceiving it, right? Mm-hmm. And so that means faith changes the way that you see the world and is an asset to, see it as a challenge, but not an overwhelming challenge.
So what changes occur within a person of faith when he or she perceives a threat?
The same thing that would happen to most humans, except we do have that protective factor. The body kicks in. Anytime the body kicks in that there's a threat, then sympathetic nervous system kicks in, it peaks, and there are different symptoms at all the stages on that. Some of them we dissociate, we take like a mental picnic, and there are others. And that happens to all of us when we perceive a threat. That's just whether it's a threat or not, because the mind is looking actively for threat because seeing threat keeps us alive, right? It's biased towards seeing threat. But people of faith, the recovery time is faster and it doesn't peak as high. So that means that parasympathetic nervous kicks in. So the faith actually changes our neurochemistry, our body chemistry, which is utterly amazing.
That's incredible. Yeah. So does the individual who believes but sins experience their faith as an asset during perceived threat?
Good and very complicated question. They would get an asset, but there are different kinds of faith. In the field, we talk about intrinsic faith and extrinsic faith. Intrinsic faith is you really believe in it. Extrinsic faith would be like, you're going to church so you can sell life insurance, okay? Now you could do both, right? And so those people who sin often sin because of perceived threat, right? And they're trying to find comfort in other gods that they create, right? Whether that's sex or addiction or beauty or money, whatever. And so to the degree that that's there is the degree to which they won't get the full benefit.
Right. Now, in your earlier illustration about a mountain makes me think of this next question. So what role does a believing community, because you had groups together, right, as well as the faith group. So what role does a believing community play in how a believer perceives a threat?
That's key. That's crucial. It's no mistake that the New Testament is filled with talking about the body of Christ, right? And we need that body. That is got double whammy. It's fantastic. We're connected, and we're doing better with that. And then we have the faith. Let me give an example, and I'll try to be brief on this one. There's what we call the Rossetto effect. The Rossetto effect comes from an Italian immigrant community just came over from Italy and landed in Pennsylvania. And suddenly, word got around that these people were healthier than the surrounding communities. And they thought, well, maybe it's their diet. No, they had a high-fat diet, drank a lot, and sausages, lots of cheese, and there goes that. And they said, well, maybe they work in safe, they had safe employment. No, they worked in quarries. They were breathing in dust, which isn't good. So what was the protective factor? Community. They had community values. They valued the community. They valued the inclusion of young people and the elderly there. And of course, they shared faith. And so they did really well. By the second and third generation, when those values weakened and the community weakened, their health was the same as the surrounding community.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yep.
So faith as an asset with perceived threat. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you.